All right, well, it's been a week since the payroll protection program rolled out, and I trust that you've all received your money. And so it's time for. No, no, come on. Nobody's received their funding. This has been a almost disaster, just rolling it out. The application went through 3 or 4 iterations. Everything's backlogged. Bank of America was ready to soak up way more than its allotment. So there have been some issues getting it started. Just yesterday, though, the Federal Reserve Bank announced a new $2.3 trillion initiative, part of which is going to go to support small businesses and supplement the Payroll Protection Program, or PPP. What this means is that the money's coming. It's going to be there for all of those who have applied. It's just a matter of time. And also, Congress is now discussing additional funds for the PPP. So the money's coming. And for the last week, the only applications that could be submitted were those from small businesses. Starting today, self-employed and independent contractors can now submit PPP applications. So if you haven't applied, do it right now. Go to your bank's website, start the application. I have a checklist and calculator that can help with the application, make that easier for you. Shoot me an email, I'll get that to you. Otherwise, while we're waiting for the funding, it's time to start planning. And there are a couple of things to plan for. I mean, there's a lot to plan for, but first of all, the PPP loans have a forgiveness component. We want to plan for that. But 2, we want to start planning for what does our business look like post-pandemic? What lessons have you learned? Where can you create efficiencies in your business? What sorts of things can you implement now that are going to be rewarded in the post-pandemic economy? The world has changed, and business is going to change with it. Once the pandemic subsides, only resilient businesses are going to be the ones shaping our future economy. So what's your plan for resilience? We all have spare time right now. Even if you're still working full time, you're not commuting to the office or to your business, you're not going to job sites, you're not running errands. So we've got the time to figure this out. What are we going to do with our PPP funds, our economic injury disaster loan funds, and other monies that are being made available? So where do we start with planning? Well, first, I'm sure you've heard, everybody seems to know that the PPP loans are forgivable. Now, there's a lot of misinformation, misunderstanding. I've spent a lot of time reading the CARES Act over and over and over again, and there's a pretty clear policy and principle behind it. The forgiveness is really about just getting people off of the unemployment payroll and keeping them on your payroll so that when the economy can reopen, theoretically, we would just dive back in at 100%, everybody just doing things as normal. But we all know that's not the case. Things are going to change. So if you get a PPP loan, you're going to get 2.5 times your average monthly payroll for 2019. Now, if you don't employ the same number of people and you don't hire those people back so that your payroll numbers match up with the average of last year, or you reduce your employees' salaries, or you do both of those things, you're not going to qualify for total forgiveness. The 8 weeks following your receiving the funds from your PPP loan, you have to spend at least 75% of those funds on payroll. And the remainder can be spent on utilities, rent, and or mortgage interest. So if you do all of those things, if you pay that 75% or more to payroll, the remainder to rent, utilities, mortgage interest, your loan's going to be forgiven. All right. But if you don't do that, you don't spend all of your money, whatever money you don't spend on rent, on utilities, mortgage interest, or payroll, that's going to be converted into a loan with a 2-year repayment period, 6 months deferred payments, and an interest rate of 1%. So what does this mean? It means get the maximum amount of money that you qualify for. Get the most you can. It's as simple as that. If you don't want to carry the loan after the 8 weeks and you don't spend it all on the qualifying categories, just return it. No harm, no foul. But if you want to have a great short-term loan with very favorable terms, keep it and start planning for how you're going to spend that. So how do you plan to use your PPP funds? You absolutely must know the answer to this question before you get the funds. Why? Because your business is going to be different after the pandemic. Your customers are going to be different after the pandemic. And your competition will surely be different after the pandemic. So you need to think about whether your business is going to need 75% of your staff immediately. Would staffing back up to 75, 85, 100% just mean that you're going to have to lay people off in 8 weeks? Maybe you don't even need to use all of your PPP funds for payroll because you can retool your business and run it more efficiently with fewer people. Then if you're going to have excess PPP funds, how will you use those to transition your business? There are tremendous marketing opportunities right now. What would you do with a larger marketing budget? How would you spend those funds to create a stream of revenue in the future, post-pandemic? We all have time to learn new systems, implement new software, redesign our businesses for the future. Have you looked at what automation can be done today? There are so many amazing, inexpensive software services that can help you make your business more resilient. There are just so many opportunities right now as we look ahead. Obviously right now we're all struggling, but we'll get through this. And when we do, there are tons of opportunities to not only redesign our businesses to be more resilient, but provide new customer experiences and play an important role in the post-pandemic economy. So I'd love to answer any of your individual questions. And we can all benefit from those questions and the answers and follow-up information. So what I'm going to be doing is sharing your questions anonymously and the answers and follow-up information. The reason for this is not to bill clients or invoice prospective clients. This isn't, specific legal advice for anybody. But what it is information, answers, and ideas that can help all of us. So click the link below or the button and submit a question or suggest a topic for one of the next videos. I'd love to hear from you. So again, your name or business won't be mentioned in a subsequent video. So please don't be shy and ask away.